Welcome to Curiosity.
Welcome to Curiosity. Oh my God. This has been so long. This has been in the works for so long.
Well, I feel like not even as long as what most people do with brand relaunches, but whenever you and I come up with an idea, it's no holding back.
All gas, no brakes.
Oh my gosh, you guys, welcome to Curiosity.
Welcome.
Seriously, so happy to have you.
Swapped out the wine for the tea for some wine.
Some fancy looking glasses, which you saw in our episode with Kelsey.
We were teasing you just a little bit.
We've been teasing you. Me calling you cuties along the way, my little curious cuties.
Though you are cuties. We are not saying that was a lie. It just was.
You are indeed cute. You are all my cuties. Okay, well, let's jump in, as this is the first episode of Curiosity.
Let's jump in. I feel like I have so much to ask you just about this whole season of things that we're launching into, because I've seen a part of you that has blossomed in such a beautiful way, just finally feeling like you have your baby. You're like,
yeah,
you have your project now. What is it that is the piece for you that, like, when you squeal, when you get excited, when you literally get butterflies, like what is the thing that you're thinking about?
Well, so I guess we're just jumping in, hey?
Both feet.
Okay, well, I guess before I answer your question, I want to just say what you're going to probably hear is like things like that. Also, why the change, what that means for you, what that means for us. We're going to go into all of that, what you can expect for the future of the podcast and beyond. Really excited. So stay tuned, buckle up. It's going to be a wild ride. We're really glad you're here. Okay.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, and to introduce ourselves in case you're new here.
Yeah, I suppose you could be. I'm Adam.
And I am Lauren. And I'm your tour guide through Curiosity. I am your mayor of Curiosity. So
voted in by popular vote.
Welcome.
It is a democracy around here still.
It is. So, okay, what made me squeal? This is something it's so interesting because podcasting has been something I've wanted to do forever, since I first heard of podcasting. Because before podcasting, I wanted to do radio. And I wanted to do radio. I wanted to do voiceovers long before I even wanted to do music. I just was so intrigued by being behind a mic, telling a story, using your voice in that way. So obviously when I was in music, I used my voice in different ways.
Yeah.
But even in that career, I was actually reflecting on that today, that what I had the most success in and what people kept on hiring us for was to talk.
Yeah, I remember that. Literally, we would go up and we would have just Q&A sessions where I would join randomly.
Q&A also,
I was just like the drummer behind the scenes for the band that she and her sister were doing.
Yeah, and we also did workshops.
Yeah.
And we got hired. Anyway, all that being said, it's like I've always found my success in my storytelling, and I've also found my like happiness through that, and like just using my voice and communicating with people and having conversation. So it's always been something that I've loved. And you'd say, well, Lauren, you've had, this podcast via Deconstruct, that name, for a while. And that's true. But in a lot of ways, I felt like it was one portion of me showing up to the podcast. And it was kind of its own brand, rather than me feeling like I could bring my whole self. And to be fair, along the way, I've been discovering who the true self is.
Yeah.
And that's been a big part of my journey. And Deconstruct and deconstructing was a big part of that. But now I feel like in the world of Curiosity, there is so much more than just breaking things down and questioning things and taking what you've known and turning it upside down. It
was like really masculine language.
It was, and not just language, but it actually is like energetically more. It was more of a masculine, I guess,
the aesthetic
approach
of everything. The approach that we had to actually talking to people, like it was all very like somber.
Yeah.
And granted, we had some fun. We had a lot of fun. We've built such a beautiful community, and we've engaged with people in really incredible ways.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's just a piece of there's a movement that I feel that is happening in people that they are ready to like rebuild. I was just talking about this with a friend the other day that like, there's been this whole deconstruction, and so many people say like, we don't want to reconstruct because then we're just going to build something again that we have to tear back down. And I want to build something again that I have to tear back down.
Because it could take until your next Saturn return when you're 50, right?
Yeah.
So now we're in our rebuild stage in a sense. So it's like, it's not going to happen right away. Like we're rebuilding, we're going to live out our lives. We're going to be in our 30s and 40s, and then 50s we'll be like, all right, is this what we want to keep doing?
Yeah.
We're in this next phase, right? And I feel so, like I said, like I can bring all of me and like all of us. I also feel like a lot of people, when they hear the word deconstruct, they do think about deconstructing religion. And that's completely fair, especially because that was literally our intent in the beginning. So it works. Like our intention was received, and, you know, I've seen it being spoken back to us. Here is where things got kind of weird. So in the middle of the summer of what year was that? I think that was 2021. Yeah. I think I remember having the moment in like just by myself when I was like, I think we as a community, we're kind of, a lot of us are done with that season of like the deconstructing evangelical, and maybe you're still there and that's totally fine, but like, at least from my perspective and the community that I have surrounded myself with, and also the community online that either engages with me on my personal accounts or even on our podcast account, I was having conversations with people that were in the same spot as me where we're like, okay, so now what? Like, now what do we do? And so that was back in 2021, middle of summer. And it felt like after I realized that, I kept on coming into roadblock against roadblock every time I kept trying to move forward with Deconstruct, whether it be the podcast or kind of the identity of it or creating content from it or even being in those types of online spaces. It felt like, I mean, we've spoken about it on the podcast, the obstacles, the social obstacles we've, come up against. And after a while, it seemed like as much as I loved the podcast, the word and the terminology and what deconstruct meant was meaning less and less, and to the point where it was actually starting to hurt.
Yeah, it was starting to trigger and traumatize people in a different way because the deconstructed Christian community became its own denomination of Christianity.
It truly did.
And so like it started kind of developing into its own personality that we didn't have say or control over anymore. And so when people were trying to find safe spaces, something like a title that is just deconstruct with, clear leanings towards what we were really doing in the beginning, was actually kind of deterring people from seeking and finding safe space with us.
Right.
And even if people knew, even if there was people that were, they were listeners, they were avid listeners since the beginning of things, they didn't feel like they had the capability of sharing with their friends the podcast because of the implications of Deconstruct.
We're like, even last week, or a couple weeks ago when you heard the episode with Kelsey, she didn't even follow my the podcast account because she was like, well, I wasn't raised with religion. I have nothing to do with religion. And it was just, I was realizing that was not only stunting like my conversations I was having, our conversations, but it was also, it was stunting this community that we love and that we loved. And I'll just speak for specifically like my community that I've built, because in the seasons where our podcast was kind of in like, it was like sitting on the back burner a little bit.
We were just like kind of in limbo,
taking breaks.
Yeah.
In those seasons, I was still very active on my social media, and I really engaged with a lot of my community. My TikTok grew and different things like that. And I feel like I really connected with the people who have supported me and have also been growing in the same kind of seasons as me as well. Like I was saying, like kind of post this deconstruction thing. And a lot of them are like, not even verbatim, but them saying things like, you know, I love you and I support you, but like, you know, I'm not deconstructing anymore. I'm like, well, have you listened to the podcast? Like, that's not what we're talking about anymore.
You're like, neither are we.
Neither are we. But like, it was weird. If I felt like I was fighting against my own branding, I was fighting against my own, even my own past. And I mean, that's like a whole conversation in and of itself, like the identities that we wear. And I feel like Deconstruct was like my last version of like denomination, basically, like you were saying. And now it's just completely different. And I don't want to talk all just about, you know, what it was. I want to talk a lot about like what Curiosity is now and what it's going to be. I want to talk about how like we will thrive in Curiosity, not just me, not just Adam, but like you as our community as well. Because we have really big plans. We have plans on growing our community through exclusive content that we are going to be like offering,
as well as free content where we just because the biggest thing to us and to me specifically, I guess I can speak from, is that like I want to feel like we can develop connection and community in a space that doesn't require church or school or something that's like there's not locational barriers, there's no religious barriers. I feel like that was the intent of what we were creating originally, was like it was a shout into the void for us to try to find community. It was a space where we were like, we see nothing like this around us. I don't think I'm going to find an actual space to be. Who can I talk to where I can like actually voice these opinions to? And that is kind of the beginning. That was the seed of what really brought Curiosity into light. Was the idea of like, what was the thing? What was the thing that you said? It was like the something about curiosity being like the main driver for you,
right?
Like why don't you explain to them a little bit of how we came up with the name? And then we can kind of go into how we want that to develop. Okay. Then they'll get a better understanding, I think, of how we want to start engaging.
Sure. So as the evolutions have been happening, and as Adam and I have been talking, and as I keep, you know, exploring and posting and talking with people, just the conversations I was having, I was just realizing that the word that I use the most, that it has been following me like literally since I was posting bios on Facebook when I was like 13, was the word curious. I remember one of my bios on Facebook was like something passionate, insatiably curious. Like I literally have had that word in my like an identity, but like it's just meant that much to me that it's always been around. It's always been like, you know, as I've gone through the phases of, you know, I was raised religious. I was religious at one point, and then I was atheist, and then I was spiritual, and then I was agnostic, and then I was into like super into zodiac, and then I was into like, as I've evolved, the thing that has remained the same forever has been curious and curiosity. So whether I'm a spiritual person or whether I'm in a spiritual season, I'm always going to be curious. Whether I am in my wellness girly era, it doesn't, like, whether or not I'm in that era or not, I will always be curious. That is what leads me into these other eras of my life.
Well, because curiosity, it isn't bound by any of the, like, it isn't bound by any of the structures of religion or science. No. It bridges everything.
I want to know so much. Like, curiosity is my spirituality, if you will. It has always been that thing that has anchored me down, as well as, like, I feel like I can touch the sky. It's a thing that makes me feel like I can do anything and anything is possible. And truly, without curiosity, life would not be worth living for me.
Yeah. You described it as what, bubbly? Was it bubbly or sparkly? What?
Yeah, like it's like a sparkly, fuzzy feeling.
Yeah. Curiosity.
It just gives me that sparkle. Like the words curious and curiosity literally gives me that feeling like it's just life. It gives me that umph of just being like, well, what's around the corner?
And Deconstruct gives me like the archaeologist energy.
Yeah.
It gives me like, I picture like digging down deep, and it gives me blueprints, and it gives me like
Right.
It gives me energy of grounding.
Which is all part of curiosity.
Yeah, but it's darker, and you got to get your hands dirty. And there's something about curiosity that just allows you to kind of float.
Well, and curiosity allows you to get your hands dirty, but then allows you to literally wipe it off on your pants and go get a margarita. That's curiosity. And then it's like, I wonder what this relationship is like. I wonder what this friendship will add to my life. I wonder what eating meat will do to me. I wonder what being a crunchy granola mom will do. I wonder what being a little baddie who walks into bars and gets shots for everybody. I wonder what that will feel like. It's curious. It's being curious with who you are and with life, like getting to play with life. It's the whole trying things on. That's what I've been saying for ever and ever and ever on this podcast. And by the way, this is still like, you can go back, like the episodes are there, so don't you worry, they aren't going anywhere. You can still send your friends the appropriate episodes that you feel are good for them and in their time, but we're gonna keep moving forward. And I think that's what's important. I do think it's important, because the thing is that like I still, again, this season of change for me is still seeking something that I don't see existing around me right now. Like I've said it, and I'll say it until I see it, is that for me, I don't see happy men talking about spiritual and social topics. It just doesn't exist. There's a few that I see, but it's like mostly spiritual sad boys. Spiritual sad boys are like macho gym boys.
Or they're like, everything's about aspiration and being like buff and successful and like chasing down the things that you want to do in your life because you have to be somebody to matter. And that's just like, I love watching podcasts that are generally led by women interviewing other women, because they're just on fire and funny. Because we're fun. Energetic. Yeah, exactly. Because you have to learn. I feel like for a lot of the podcasts I listen to, when you listen to just straight white dudes talking, they have had no adversity to overcome, really. Nothing that is like foundational for them. Yeah. You don't have to learn how to laugh through the pain when your life is pretty much handed to you and pretty standard. Like, you're just kind of going through life and you're like, okay, for me, I'm like, I have things to develop. I want to be a little bit more intellectual. I want to be able to tap into the magic of the world. Like, I want to be more spiritual. For me, that is kind of what the downfall is of trying to like be in a space without ever really coming from any hardship. And that's why I've really, with this new season, wanted to empower you to take this thing and run. Yeah. So like, that being said, you're going to see a lot more, if we want to like move into more of that, like the future of the podcast. Yeah, of course. So as you can hopefully tell by the new images and the branding, we are moving out of the masculine. And we're moving into the feminine for sure, and just like honestly being more balanced. But in a sense, I will be taking a little bit more charge, as you've probably heard in other episodes. Like, Adam has been really busy, but Adam will be in front of every episode with me. We will be discussing every like interview that we have. He'll also be here. We will have these conversations. Don't you worry. Look, I'm busy. The Adam stands, like, don't fret. Do not please. I will be here. Do not come after me. We have so many more plans that you just got to keep listening, because yes, we have so many. We have so many things we want to tell you guys. So please, like, know that you're gonna get all you want from Adam. Trust me. Here's the thing is, I am just busy right now because I am waiting for her to become my sugar mama and let me be her editor for this entire thing. So we're just like working towards that, you guys. And it's going to happen. But right now we're just working, like being very honest with you guys with where, we're at. But we're going to have, similar to the conversations that I had with Kelsey, we're going to be having in-person guests, and I'm so excited. That's going to be so fun, and we'll be talking about the spectrum of life. If you listen to the trailer that came out last week, you will know, and you will like kind of get a better understanding of the concept of Curiosity, which is something I kind of came up with a little while ago, which kind of became my like little identity, but it's woo woo plus woohoo. Okay. So we're gonna go woo woo. Sometimes it's gonna be spiritual, or it's gonna be sciencey, or it's gonna be nerdy, or it's gonna be,
along those lines. But then we're also going to have our woohoo moments. Like, we're going to bring in our, the current trends. We may talk some pop culture things. We're going to be laughing. We may have some drinks every once in a while. Like, it's going to be a fun time. I'm ready for this to be
a party.
Woo woo and woohoo, because that's who I am. And that's part of what what I'm trying to get across is that it's going to be a lot more reflective of my personality. And it's going to be a lot more reflective of the people in our lives. We live in Nashville, and the people who are going to be around and the people who end up flying into Nashville, who have conversations with us. Like, it's going to be a lot more grounded, but with a lot more fun.
Yeah. Well, I think the important thing is complexity. Like, there's just so much humanness in complexity.
Right.
That I feel like a lot of people are trying to almost mask and pretend doesn't exist. Like, they want to be somebody online, some specific identity. They want to serve a specific purpose. And I think that's a good aspiration and a good goal to serve a purpose. But like, I think the best thing that we can be right now is authentic online.
Right.
If you can be vulnerable, if you can, like we try to do every week, is share what is happening to you, be vulnerable in the process of learning, of growing, of breaking, of all of the things, like in the fracture of your life,
right,
of our lives. We are talking about it right here.
Right.
These are the conversations that we're having. Like, I just want to make it very, very clear that, like, there is no fabricated discovery on this podcast. Like, when we're having these conversations, we are having them for the first time. There's no script. There's no like pre-game conversation. It's just an opportunity that we have set aside time to sit down and talk, not only with each other, but with you guys. Like, this is the time that we are having conversation with you. That's why the comments are important. That's why the DMs are so valuable to us, is because like, we don't have time all the time to go and like hang out with friends and build new communities. This is it for us.
Right.
This is the time that we spend talking to each other and talking to you.
It's true.
And so like, that's why this, I feel like the part that we haven't addressed yet is why it's Curiosity. And it's because we want to build an environment where it's like, maybe this is the radio show of Curiosity, but there's also going to be a movie theater. There's also going to be a town hall. There's also going to be streets for you to wander, to like find what it is you're looking for in the like scope of what our community can be, and what you guys can give to us, and what you guys can create for one another is like so much more than what we could just serve you from the stage of behind the Canon EOS R camera. Like, this is a piece.
Yeah, I hope you're ready to be a lot more involved.
Yes, please. We need a volunteer sign-up sheets so that, and we need somebody that's going and putting flyers on doors.
It's not like that. It's like involved in a fun way, like where we'll all actually be having conversation, where you will actually have tangible things that make you feel like you're a part of a community. That's been a big thing I know a lot of our community has been looking for and has been excited about, is having something tangible. And there's the future of like possible meetups in the future, and there's going to, like I said, there's going to be like exclusive like not just content, but ways that we can communicate with you. And it's just, we have a lot on our radar, and we're excited to share it all with you. I don't know if we're sharing it all today. I think we're gonna roll it out as in the next couple weeks. But there's going to be merch, and there's going to be just lots of fun. I'll just kind of like leave it there. I don't want to give away too much because I'll announce it on social, so make sure you go follow. It's going to be at, which we're recording early, but it's Curiosity Pod. That is the username. I'm still getting used to it. Curiosity Pod.
Yep.
So it's literally Curiosity, but with a C on both, like Curiosity.
Well, I think the important piece that we really need from you guys as we are changing and evolving and investing in this season is we really do need your involvement. Like, we know who you are in the DMs, and that's not a threat. we just
it is a threat.
It can be. We know that you want to be involved. We know that you are so that you value sharing your own heart and allowing us even to publish those DMs on our Instagram to be able to show people the relatable stories that we are encountering on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And for those of you that do want to share and feel that that's valuable, we know how many people respond to those messages where they're like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling the exact same thing. Yeah,
me too. Yeah.
Hearts, likes, reshares, all sorts of things. And I think it's going to be imperative that we start platforming you in spaces that you can actually build community and that we can gather people to actually have group conversations and be able to actually engage with you as some of our content is being released.
And if there's anything that I have learned from communicating with you all through my socials, through our podcast socials, is that you guys are all curious cuties. Like, you really are curious human beings who are in, like, even if we're in different experiences, we're not in the same life, season, we're all very similar, and the thing that brings us all together is that we're all curious, and we all want to keep learning and growing and evolving and changing and having fun, and then like getting more serious and then having more fun, and like that ebb and flow. Like, that is you. That is Curious Cuties. Those are the citizens of Curiosity.
Yeah.
And so that's what we are so excited about, because I know you're there. I know you're listening. I know you're engaging. But now I hope you feel that this truly is a place for you where you can grow and where you can come to have fun, where you can have heartfelt conversations, where you can learn something, and where you can literally just laugh your ass off. Like, I want all of that. We want to, like Adam was talking about, the vulnerability in real time, but also another big part is like the sass, so like bringing the attitude to the podcast.
One of these days you're going to hear me swear on this podcast,
and it will be the first time I hear him swear. That would be,
it will be life-changing for all of us,
for everyone. But I mean, I don't know when that would be. That would be kind of crazy.
I might have a Mitch McConnell moment and just freeze.
Just after you swear? Yeah. You're just like, you don't even
I don't even know how to process it.
You don't even know what to do. No, I think that would be me. You'd be laughing and I would freeze. But okay, the other thing about the reason why we chose the city thing is because I have always been so big on creating worlds. When I was
a young warthog.
When I was a young warthog. Literally, when I was young warthog. Actually, just sorry, you really got my ADHD brain going.
I did it. Congratulations.
That when I watched Lion King, that was the first time I ever knew, like, that's when I realized I wanted to do like voiceovers.
It's also when you fell in love with Simba.
Yes, but I wanted to be the voice for young Simba. I just, for some reason, whenever I first heard, everybody look left, everybody look right, I was like, 1, I want to sing that song.
Yeah.
2, I want to be a voice for a lion or whatever. So that was, yes.
Oh
so
my God.
When I was a young warthog, I created this world, between my sister and I, and it's called Sunnyvale. And we had the sun in the middle, in the corner of our room, and our whole room was so magical. It was painted like a meadow. Our parents just like were like, honestly, top-notch parent choice was to kind of create that world, at least in aesthetic, so that we could create the worlds like within. And anyway, and that was Sunnyvale, and we still talk about Sunnyvale. It's basically the place where we go in our conversations and in our imagination, where we connect on a soul level, and we're having fun, and it's easy breezy. It's just easy breezy cover girl, you know what I mean? And anyway, so it's something that's always been a part of like my life in a way, like a really big what is it called, cornerstone? Yeah, for just the way I approach the things that are like magical in my life. And Curiosity, I truly believe, is like that. I, from a young age, wanted something similar to like a magazine, which I'm not going to go fully into that, but I wanted to do... I never got to read Cosmo. Let me just skip straight to the point. I never read Cosmo when I was like little, but I would go to friends' houses.
That is an early 2000s trauma.
Yes, no, it truly was a trauma. And so I'd go to friends' houses and I would read Cosmo and I would read like, 17 and whatever. Okay. So like I wanted to do like an earthy girl version of Cosmo. And anyway, I wanted to give like sex tips, but I also like, I loved like the spiritual aspect. I wanted to give like a spiritual aspect, something that like actually like has a lot of meaning. I want to have conversations where it's fun.
At the time, did you want to be the writer for like the astrology stuff? Was that even a part of it at the time?
No. Like, I mean, I'm saying I'm giving even terminology I don't think I had then, but it was just like a felt sense kind of thing. Yeah. And like I'm like explaining it now, but I don't think I had.
You didn't have that
vernacular then. Yeah, right. But, it's something that's been like, I've been super passionate about my whole life. I'm like, I'm all these things. And a really big part of my story was feeling like I was too many things. So like I was too many little things. I didn't fit in anywhere. I wasn't just this dedicated yogi hippie girl. I wasn't this like bougie bitch that was just like always, high class, getting all the brand deal. Like I wasn't that. I didn't fit into that. I just didn't fit into any. I wasn't athletic. There just wasn't one thing.
Yeah. Well, you were enough of each of those.
I was
things.
enough of each of them. I
you
did
could
all
convince
those
people.
things. Right. That's the problem though. And that's what's hard even in my career stuff, which I can get into as well. But
it's like when a therapist tells you like, well, it sounds like you've got it all together.
Which that happened to me a lot. Yeah. So it's like, how am I a professional in everything, yet I feel like I'm a professional in nothing? Like, why is it that I just feel like I'm a jack of all trades? It's a very lonely feeling because you don't feel like you belong anywhere. So anyway, I wanted like a magazine to kind of like do it all. Like I wanted something to where all those things I was passionate about could be put into one place. And then social media came about and I tried doing that, but I got, I was going through the seasons I was religious. I wasn't, whatever. Yeah. But now I'm fully embodied where I was like I was when I was a lot younger, and I was more embracing all the facets of who I am and all the facets of being a human being, which again is a big part of Curiosity. It's like I'm embracing and exploring all the things. That is what being curious is about. And so with Curiosity being this world that I can kind of create, I want to bring all those elements. I want to bring those things that are with each guest that comes on too. They're going to be bringing a part of them with them as well. Like they will be these tourists along Curiosity, these people who come in and like bless us with their
future residents. They are parking in the future resident parking spot when they come here.
Exactly. They're like bringing their experiences and we're like, taking from them. And anyway, so there's a lot of analogies that's going to be happening. I hope you guys are into that because the future of the podcast is just all about these analogies. But anyway, all that being said, that has been something that's been super important to me, and I can bring that to Curiosity. On the career side of it as well, a big reason why I'm so excited for this is the things that, like I mentioned, and that you asked me, like, why did I squeal? Because this is going to be more than a podcast, and we keep on kind of, mentioning it. And like I said, there's going to be things for the community. There's going to be merch, but it's going to be a lot bigger than just a podcast that you listen to once a week. And that's my goals. I don't want to, like, some things I need to keep close to the chest, even though I'm very difficult at that. But just know that this is something that I care so much about, and you listening and you being here means the world to me, because this is something I've dreamt of, and like the future of it is something I've dreamt of literally my entire life. And so the launch of this version of the podcast just means so much to me, because it's just the beginning of like the rest of my life.
Yeah. You're inviting baby Lauren into the process.
Right. I just turned 30. So the 30 going on 13 thing was like a huge catalyst as well to this whole energy of being like, okay, I have figured myself out a lot. I've played a lot of different roles now. Now, who am I? I'm all those little roles, basically. I'm all those people. And this gives me a way to like really focus my energy into creating this world where I can bring my YouTuber self. I can bring my little social influencer self. I can bring my writer self. I can bring, you know, my funny going out with the girls self and my like deep serious self. It's all going to be here, and it's all going to be, it's all finally going to make sense. And I can't tell you how exciting that feels for me.
Is there like any part of you that you feel like you have to shed to move past Deconstruct and into Curiosity? Or do you feel like this is just an evolution for you?
I feel like I feel like I have been in the shedding seasons. I feel like it's been...
That's what Deconstruction was.
And no, because in a way that was also me like putting on an identity as well that I didn't even realize I was doing. I feel like it's in the seasons where we weren't like posting on the podcast and it was more on the back burner, like whatever. I feel like there were seasons where that's when I was really letting go. And I was really...
You had to do it in solitude.
Yeah, and I was figuring out how to bring all those pieces together. And I think it just has. In this past year, I have figured out what that means to have this all come together. I know there will be seasons where I'm more woo-woo than woo-hoo, and that's okay. Like, I'm going to be more woo-hoo than woo-woo sometimes, and that's also okay. I feel like blending those worlds together, I think, is what is exciting. And I don't think you can guess what you're going to hear on the podcast anymore.
Oh, no way.
And that makes me so happy, because all you need to know is that I'll be here, that Adam will be here at the beginning of every episode no matter what. So like, I mean, he's gonna be here, but you will for sure have me, and it's gonna, like, I promise to be my authentic whole full self, whether you like it or not. Here she comes.
I'm so grateful to be here in this season, and like, because this seemed so far off just not long ago. Like, I feel like we were in this, obviously this time last year, Patchouli was sick. We were trying to relaunch the podcast, and we were in this same conversation of like, do we need to change the name? Is this does this name and identity align with us anymore? Like,
I'm so glad we didn't change it then, because we weren't ready for it.
No, we weren't ready for it. And like, I'm just so grateful that I get to be present for this. Like, the fact that I get to witness you and the growth that I've even seen in you coming from this change and embracing this podcast. Like, the fact that I have been telling you, hey, I'm going to start pulling back so that you can push forward, and you being grateful. And I've just seen this like fire in you that has picked up since I started saying, like, hey, I want to see you doing more. I want to be less visible, but not because I don't want to be here, not because I don't want to spend the time doing this and having conversation with you, but because I feel like the capacity of our conversation is limited to our own experiences and our own biases and the way that we have conversation. And I just seeing Kelsey's episode a few weeks ago, like that killed me. I was laughing harder watching that episode and I already knew I knew the context of the episode. I know you and Kelsey. It's not like the humor was a surprise to me, but I still found myself laughing so much. And that's like, I am so grateful that I get to see that expansion in you, and that I get to see you take this thing that we've built together in this community that we've fostered and show them the world. Like, that's what I feel like we're building with this Curiosity, is that you are showing them like an inside look into the world that is in your mind, and we get to have guests on, and you get to have your friends on, and the type of conversations are changing, and also, like, they're getting deeper and richer, and they're also getting super shallow and hilarious and completely off the cuff.
Which is so needed to be human.
To be human, like, we have to have that full spread of conversation. And like, I know it's going to be so incredible. Yeah. And I know that I get to see you excited about the investment. Like, I have known you since I was your employee.
Yeah.
When you pulled me out of a snowbank in Minnesota and said, hey, come play drums for me.
Yeah.
I know the tenacity in your heart.
Yeah.
When you have something that you feel like you're allowed to invest your energy into. And it's just that, like, Deconstruct was that in some form.
It was.
But it was also like a very specific seeking that you were doing for community. And now we have the community, and now it seems to me like you are wanting to like explode the whole thing and grow it. And
it's like the thing from Barbie. It says, grab my hand, now close your eyes and feel.
Yeah.
That is like the epitome.
Yes.
Like me turning 30 and Barbie coming out. I'm like, this is my time. Like it's time.
Yeah.
It's time for me to take my own hand, to take your hand, to close our eyes and to feel and to really be human.
Yeah.
And to embrace all the facets of being human. And I really can't say anything more on that, because it's just, I feel like I'm feeding a fed horse, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to be so clear about that like there is an energy I see in you that has grown 3 sizes, like the Grinch's heart.
Us and our analogies, what the hell?
We're going to reference all the pop culture from the early 2000s in this, if you couldn't tell by the album cover.
Yeah, let us know what you guys think of the album cover, by the way. It's not called album cover. It's
cover art, technically. Art, yeah. But you know what? We're from the music industry. We can call it what we want.
Anyway, my heart grew 3 sizes.
Yeah, I just feel like I just feel like I was able to take pieces of what you've told me that you wanted out of life, and what you've shown me that you want to invest your energy and intention into. And to see you just scoop them all up the moment we were able to make it seem like something cohesive for you, and something that you could see the through line, you could see the potential, and you could see where everything connected finally. Yeah. Was just so beautiful.
The light bulb has turned on in my life.
Yeah.
I feel like I have so many little things, and I've called myself like, you know, a walking contradiction before, like in such negative ways, which I'm really not. I feel like I make enough sense.
Totally.
But just at least internally, that was been one of my biggest struggles, is feeling like that. And now I feel like it finally, like you kind of mentioned, I have a place to put my energy, and this community is going to just mean everything because of that. Because I know now I can bring all those elements, and now I can like run full force. I know where this is going. I know where it's crazy, you guys. Like, I know what it's like to feel like you're just trying everything. You know, I've given you the advice to try things on, because that's like, I felt like that's all I did. It's all I do. Like, I do that so much. I even talked about that with Kelsey, was that I'm like the person who's always like, I'm a Virgo. I try everything on. And I'm just like, I'm a big supporter. I'm a big support girl. And like, I am. That's very true. But let me just say that after all the trying things on, some things will eventually stick.
Yeah.
And that's to encourage you, because trying things on is exhausting. Like, it's tiring to try to be everything, like, all the time. And I think that's like maybe that's another conversation for another time, because I have like some actual like career, like business advice, like when it comes to that, and like goal setting and all that. Like, we can talk about that. But just know that I do believe that trying things on is so important, but there's also a time where you do focus and you choose a few things. And we talked about this in another episode as well. Like, you focus hard and you make those things happen. And that's the season that we're in, and that's the season I'm in. And I hope that encourages you. And I'm just so excited for what I know, because when I know, I know. I'm so excited for what I know is going to be an incredible journey. And you're at the front of it, so
congratulations on making it here.
And thanks for being here.
Honestly. So if there are a few teasers and pieces of what our intentions are for this podcast, for this community now, because it's beyond a podcast at this point. Yeah. Curiosity podcast is what this is. Mm-hmm. But there are other pieces to that. And how, like, share a few iterations of ways that you are looking to build this thing out.
Okay. So if you noticed one of the episodes that we did, and we, granted, we didn't do it super well, but I will, we'll continue getting better. There's going to be like Adam mentioned, a movie theater version. So it's going to be like on YouTube and things like that. Video. Mm-hmm. We've had video this entire time, by the way, but there's going to be vlogs, more vlogs that involve moving around,
and telling a story. I think
involve telling a story. Mm-hmm. Exactly. They're going to be, so there's going to be that element. So that's going to be fun for you to like partake in that way. Like I mentioned, there's going to be merch. Mm-hmm. Like I mentioned, what you tell me, because I will tell everything, and I'm not good at, I don't know what we're keeping and what we're not.
Look, I'm not looking to keep anything. This is your prerogative. So whatever you want to share, you share.
Go for it.
Okay, well, the thing that I'm the most excited about.
Okay, because I feel like I'm skirting around whatever you're most excited about.
The thing that I'm the most excited about actually is, so once a month, because we have had we've had so many of you that have reached out to us and want to have conversations every time we post an episode. And it just encourages me so much, because like you guys are engaging with the things that we're saying, and it's really great for us to be able to revisit that and go back and be able to say, you know what, hey, this is what I meant, and here is the things that I have followed up in my own life, because you're watching something I recorded a week ago. And like I said, we move fast around here, baby. So like we do start implementing practices on top of the things that we're struggling with or the things that we're dealing with.
Yeah.
And so we have decided that once a month we want to go live with you to have a live, what we're going to call a town hall, but a live Q&A where we're going to be on Instagram. I believe that's the platform we're going to choose. We'll be able to move forward with that in the future on specifics, but where we're just going to go on, what was it, the last Tuesday.
We'll give you all the details. We'll give you all the details later on, like on socials. But just know we do have that. It's going to be like a book club, but like a podcast club. Yeah. But it's going to be town hall. We also have, we're going to have like exclusive episodes with me and Adam smoking joints and getting tipsy. Like there's going to be those sort of fun episodes where we don't know what the fuck is gonna happen, but we're just gonna roll with it.
Yeah. We just want to let you in, like, because the biggest thing for me that I've talked about
Adam's
on here,
seriousness, and like, let me just tell you, like,
that is not my entire identity.
You gotta see like this boy twerk. You know what I mean?
Look, I've told you before, we open and shut down the dance floor, so there is plenty fun that we're having outside of conversations that tend to edge on the side of seriousness.
And we're bringing it all to you, and we're not trying to just like like we're not like baiting you. You're here, like, welcome. Like, you are here. There's nothing you need to do. Like, we're just letting you know that there are things that are on the way that are going to be even more exciting,
and ways for us to be able to like get to know you. That's the thing that really excites me, because like, if anybody knows, it's generally Lauren in the DMs, because I'm not good at that kind of conversation, which
is why I'm essentially taking the lead on this. Yeah, because it's my, like, when I'm responding, I want you to know, like, it is me.
Yeah,
I want you to know
who you're talking to.
Yeah, who you're talking to.
Yeah,
when somebody's sending me a heartfelt message, like, if it is like to Adam, like, I will let him know and let him read it, whatever. Otherwise, I want you to know who you're speaking to. And that's why, even like moving forward, and I've already implemented even the captions on things are from my perspective. My best friend Kelsey, things like that. Like, I'm just like, that's the way I'm speaking, because I want you to feel like I'm talking to you, because I am, because it is literally me. There is no one else on this team. It's me and Adam. But I want you to know, like, I just want you to feel like we're besties, because honestly we are. Like, at this point we've had enough conversations. You've been in my DMs, I've been in yours. We like know each other. We know these heartfelt, serious, vulnerable, and also hilarious moments. So let's start acting like it.
Yeah. It's like I want to be able to go live with you guys. I want to be able to invite people onto the Instagram live so we can see your faces and actually, like, I feel like virtually hug you and actually get to know each one of you and be able to, like, invite you into our lives and into our workflow and invite you into the community and the city that we're really trying to build for people.
Yeah.
And granted, it's a metaphorical city, but I think the practices still stick, that, like, we are not trying to be a monolith here. I don't want, she can be your mayor and I can be your court jester or whatever it is that I'm going to be.
He's assistant to the regional mayor.
Assistant to the regional mayor.
Okay.
And, like, but we only have so much power here, and we want to be able to empower each of you to be able to jump in on this too. And I just have to talk to you. I feel like you guys are such incredible conversationalists and so vulnerable and open, and I just need more of that in my life and in my heart.
Yeah. Also, I think a lot of you guys know this because you're so, like, cute and funny, and, like, I love you guys because you watch and you, like, see what my friends do and what my friends call me. But I wanted to let you know that you can call me Elle, because everyone does. Adam calls me Elle. It's so funny. I was listening to the episode with Kels, and she called me. She's like, yeah, Lauren and I, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, when do you ever call me Lauren?
You said,
it was, no, not that it was, like, weird. Like, I don't want to make her feel weird, but, like, she always calls me Elle. So I don't know if that's just something I just want to let you guys know, that you're more than welcome to just call me Elle or LD. That's, like, that would mean a lot. That would make me feel like we were friends.
Yeah.
I love how with my conversation, we keep referring to the conversation with Kelsey, and if you haven't listened to it, like, you're wrong. No, no, you should. But in that conversation, I was like
chugging wine.
It was not wine. It was.
Oh, that's right. It was straight vodka, baby.
No, it was a cocktail, but it was a very, like, the barista, like, really made it strong. AKA me. Anyway, and, like, how you will beat me every time. Like, you will always finish.
I'll always drink first.
Yeah.
Anyway. I'll always finish first.
No, that's not true.
That is not true.
In case
just
you're
to be
wondering,
clear,
that's not true.
No, I mean, I love that you specifically are even giving them context for how to refer to you, because, like, you can call me Big Papa. Yeah. Oh my God. Don't call me anything. Just kidding. I just don't respond to things. Except I got some really sweet DMs recently that were incredible. But I think the thing is that, like,
Addie Fro.
Absolutely not. Please never again.
Frosty.
That's what I call myself. So most of the time.
No, call him Adam.
Just call me Adam.
That
works.
He's the best Adam. Like, the most basic name, but, like, you are such an Adam. Like, you're like a good old, like, sweet Adam.
All right. I guess I can get behind that. I don't know many others. So.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you're totally good. I think the thing that I feel like I want to leave people with, at least on my end, is that, like, deconstructing, we're so grateful that you did that with us. And I really do want to encourage you to dabble with building something new, because it's just,
they're ready
alongside us. That's why this is a city. I mean, put your yellow construction hat on, because we are building.
We're building
new
a
things
city,
here.
bitches.
We are.
Let's go.
We are, and it's like, whether you build it with Legos. We ride. Whether you're building it with Legos and it's easy to disassemble and take back apart, and you know exactly which piece is what, or you're building a castle like you have had before. The most meaningful things in life, like my faith when I was a Christian, was very meaningful to me, and I had to build something that could break my heart. There's just something about the vulnerability of building something that you have no intention of tearing down, for it to really bear the weight of the beautiful things in life that you can create.
And you know what? They are ready. Like
they are.
You are ready. We are ready to be all those things.
And the thing that I've said before is that like building community is about being in a safe space where you can break through the walls of micro traumas. You can experience trauma in space with safe people to help you learn that you're safe.
We said this at the beginning of the last season when we tried to relaunch. Like, we are not politically correct. Adam more than me. I'm definitely not. And it's a safe space to be human.
Yes.
And I think that's the thing. It's like it's a safe space to be a fuck up. Like, it's a space. What? It's a safe space to explore and like try it all on. Like I said, like I want you to feel like you can express yourself, that you can talk without thinking about all the right words to say. Like if that's what you're looking for, honey, you're in the right place.
And please disagree with each other and with us, because like I said, this is a safe space. You can have disagreements with people that you know are at least coming to the conversation in good faith. Like,
be a good person. I mean, if you're not nice, then like,
yeah, if you're just trying to be a
you can
dick,
leave.
you can leave.
Adam got feisty.
I will let you know how you can leave. Honestly, I feel like that's the main people that I respond to in our comment section.
Oh my god. So yeah, that's okay.
We don't need to go there. That's fine. Just
I actually have no tolerance for
just don't be mean
rudity
to our people or us, my people.
Or you're cut out. Just kidding.
We can have disagreements and we can have good conversations about it. And I love that. That's one of the biggest things that we have developed in this season of our lives is intentionally investing time into learning from people that we disagree with, because you're either going to come away with a new perspective or you're going to come double down on the fact that you actually really do believe it. And now you have information on the counter argument.
Yeah.
That is so valuable.
Let's just learn from each other. That's the whole point. Let's stay curious. It's not about like, this is what I think and you're dumb. It's like, this is what I think. Why do you think what you think?
Yeah.
It's about the question marks at the end of the sentences. Okay. Like, it's about that. It's about pressing in.
Yeah.
And I am officially tipsy.
Incredible. We couldn't have ended this episode without you being tipsy. So I'm glad you got there. Before 2 hours.
I'm so excited, you guys. This is so exciting. I'm busting at the seams. I'm shitting my pants. I'm screaming, crying, throwing up. Like, this is just everything that I have been dreaming of, and you're my dream. So how does that make you feel that you're my dream come true?
It should make you feel really good.
It should make you feel amazing. We love you guys so much.
So much.
Thank you so much for listening. And until next time.
Bye.
Yay!